Well, my top three priorities, if reelected, one I've mentioned earlier is dealing with gun violence. I'm going to continue to push for us as a city to do everything we can to make sure that kids go to sleep at night and don't have to jump into bathtubs because gunfire is going off in their neighborhoods. One of the things I'm going to continue to do is push for the expansion of a program called Violence Interrupters. This is not the police. These are folk who care about their community, going in and talking to people that are involved in some tough situations and trying to get them not to engage in violence or hurting people. I think that's a really important initiative, and I look forward to continue to push that. Second thing is I think it's important for all of us to be able to pay our rent or our mortgage, have a safe place to live and sleep, and to be able to eat food and get to work. So I'm going to be working on something called a guaranteed income pilot that we're going to start here in Durham this fall that I had the honor of working on and helping to lead. So it's called Shared Economic Prosperity. Durham's are really doing really well, but we want to make sure that all of our people that live in Durham get to participate in this great economy and all these good things that are going on. So that's going to be my second priority. And then thirdly, affordable housing. I'm going to continue to push for the city to use land that we own, our own land. You as a resident and citizens of Durham, we own a lot of stuff. I'm going to push for us to use some of the stuff that we own, our land, to build affordable housing, to build housing for people from different income levels to live together, not just one rich people over here or poor people over here, but for us to live together in mixed use communities. I think that's really important for us to learn from one another and to share our experiences and to have a city that's beautiful and safe and accessible for all people. So those would be my priorities if reelected.
We passed $95 million housing bond, affordable housing bond, and there has not yet been any affordable housing, newly affordable housing created in the city of Durham. And not only do we have the $95 million affordable housing bond sitting there, but we also have money that the city has that could create affordable housing that has not been tapped into either. There are people who in Durham, I know I'm a pastor of a church, and based on my love for the Lord Jesus, I go out and try to reach and help these people. And I'm finding out that a lot of people, there are people that are leaving Durham now, going to surrounding areas, just Pittsburgh and Graham, because they can't find anything in Durham when there is money available to create affordable housing in Durham. Number two is that the former police chief of police, wanted to increase the number of police in the city of Durham. And there was the talk of defunding the police. So she didn't get any of the requests that she had for additional police officers. And what we see now, we see an escalation number of homicides in the city of Durham, escalation shootings in the city of Durham, and there have been reports of people dialing 911. They're getting delayed responses because they're being rerouted at one time through Raleigh instead of having enough people on staff to handle the calls here in Durham. So these are issues, related that we need to be willing to address. And the third thing is put a greater emphasis on opportunity zones. The opportunity zones will pass so that as a way in low income communities and neighborhoods, if you set up there, you could get a tax deduction on your taxes when you do your taxes. But what it would also do is that create jobs and opportunities in some of these lower income communities. And what is happening is that this thing has been overlooked. It's not being taken advantage of. And also in the city of Durham, one thing that surprised me as I was working with the Durham Committee on Affairs of Black People and the Durham Business and Professional Chain as a chair and vice chair for economic development, is that when I had talked to one of the major hotel builders in downtown Durham about setting aside about 18% of the jobs for Blacks, I was told that they didn't have set-asides for Black men in the city of Durham. And I thought that's pretty tough and hard when you see that Blacks are the highest percentage of people living in poverty in the city of Durham, but then they don't have set-asides for them.